hot. It's been hot all summer. It's been pretty darn good.
Family moved from inland to a port town on the Mississippi River called Hannibal. A lot of the adventures of Tom Sawyer are straight out of his own boyhood in Hannibal. So playing hooky, fishing on the islands, pranks on townspeople, that's all straight out of his own boyhood experience. Sam's boyhood, though, comes to a pretty abrupt end when he's 11 years old with the death of his father. At that time, he's forced to leave school and find work as a printer's apprentice, and so that's the end of his formal education. Self-taught from then on, but this apprenticeship giving an opportunity and access to a lot of reading material, opportunity to try writing at a very young age, so overall a very good experience for Sam. But he does, as a young man, move on to the dream career he and all his boyhood comrades, becomes a riverboat pilot on the Mississippi. Again, a very happy period in his life, and a career well suited to him, and something he may have continued indefinitely. Civil War shuts down all commercial shipping on the Mississippi, so that ends that career, but certainly provides plenty of material for his later writing. So from here, Sam ends up heading out west with his older brother, tries his luck at silver mining, other endeavors, but ultimately starts finding work as a journalist. This is when he first starts using the name Mark Twain. The name itself came from his years on the Mississippi. It's a term of measurement. They had to frequently measure the depth of the river. It was very dangerous if the water would get too shallow, so it's a constant thing to check the depth. So, what is it, 2 fathoms, I think it's 12 feet deep, is the minimum safe depth. And the term for that is Mark Twain. You can think of that as the line between safe and dangerous water. Great metaphor. Interesting. So Mark Twain begins building as a journalist and ends up hired by a newspaper to travel to Europe and the Holy Land with a group of wealthy Americans. And it's on this trip that Sam meets a young man named Charlie Langdon, famously shows Sam a portrait of his sister Olivia, at which Sam is love-struck and conspiring to meet her. I don't know that this is the portrait, but this is the story. He sees a portrait and wants to meet her, and it's successful about a year later when he visits the family home in New York. First date, a lecture by Charles Dickens. So they end up getting married in 1870 with her family blessing. Her family from Elmira, New York, her father Jervis had made a fortune in coal and timber, so a wealthy, successful man, and very active in the abolitionist movement. So good friends with members of the Beecher family I mentioned outside. Her father once fired one of his own staff on the spot when he refused to wait on his dinner guest, Frederick Douglass. So big contrast between Olivia's upbringing and Sam's upbringing in a slave state. And she greatly influences his thoughts on those matters. So as I said, married in 1870, first home in Buffalo, New York, wedding gift from her father. And the furniture you see in this room, the upholstered pieces, this tall mirror, all part of that wedding gift, that first starter home. Yes, yeah. So this is part of their wedding gift. You're not allowed to touch. Yeah, that's okay. I should have said that at the beginning. I should have gone through all the rules.
Well, that's good to know. Yes. I can understand guidelines.
Okay. So,
who is that?
This is Olivia.
Yeah, I've got to look just like that lady.
Yes, exactly. That's a bust of Olivia commissioned by her parents when she was 19 years old. So serious-minded, college-educated. Sam's nickname for her was Gravity. Her nickname for him was Youth. So a very happy relationship, a real balance between the two of them. So really his life partner, truly. At the time that was still somewhat unusual. So it was Olivia who managed the house, and it was in fact Olivia's money that paid to build the house. Father ended up dying just about a year after they were married, and so it's a lot of her inheritance money that allowed them to build such an elaborate home at a time when his career was just starting to gain some traction. So as I said, they arrived here in Hartford in 1871, bring with them an infant son named Langdon, who sadly in the days before vaccines and modern medicine contracted diphtheria and did not survive. So they only had one son, and who died as a toddler, but they did have 3 daughters. So we meet them. We have first oldest daughter, Susie, a very precocious girl, and like her father, she loves writing. She did poems and plays. You can secretly wrote a biography of her father when she was only 12 years old, working up in her room at night. He later said it was one of the greatest compliments he'd ever received. So this is Susie. And next we have Clara. Very musical family. Music a very big part of their family life. She pursued music as a career as a young woman. 2 marriages over the course of her life, both were to Russian conductors. She had 1 child, a daughter named Nina. But Nina never had children, and neither of the sisters ever had children, so there's no direct descendants. Although there is a there's a story breaking right now about a possible Nina descendant.
Really?
So yeah, so there's DNA research being done.
Yeah. Ooh,
So yeah, stay tuned.
That's cool.
Okay, finally we have the youngest daughter. This is Jean, a real animal lover, outdoors person. Sadly though, as a teenager, Jean began suffering seizures. Epilepsy, not well understood at this time, very much limited her choices in life as a young woman. But her childhood years, the years here in this home, really storybook happiness for this family. It's a happy musical household. Maybe Sam seated at the piano here, entertaining visitors with Southern spirituals from his boyhood. Or maybe this is an original picture taken here in this room. This is the Clemens girls. We have, let's see, Jean, Susie, Clara, and some of their neighborhood friends shown here in costume performing a play written by Susie called Love Chase. And so that's taken right there.
Nice.
Over 100 years ago.
Wow.
So that's the Clemens family. Seated at this end of the table, maybe coordinating some details with the kitchen. Sam up at the head of the table and often on his feet, entertaining visitors with his stories, perfecting his Mark Twain stage persona. He's very well known not only as a writer, but also a lecturer. Very popular form of entertainment at the time, and very lucrative for him. A lot of income generated by his lecture tours. So getting a little rehearsal here in the family dining room with his dinner guests. Daughter's often up on the stairs, the door's shut now, but there's a nice bird's eye view of the table from the stairs. The girls like to make a game of predicting what course is being served based on what story their father was retelling. And finally here, the conservatory. This is usually a big family favorite. Clemens' daughters called this the jungle. They love playing games here, often recruiting their father and the butler as tigers and elephants and so forth. So just a great deal of fun and affection associated with this part of the house. This is a room Sam reflected very warmly on late in his own life. So it's the nursery. Oldest daughter Susie had a bedroom right through that door, connecting through that doorway. It was originally her mother's sewing room, but with 3 girls in 1 bedroom, eventually everyone spreads out. Mother loses her sewing room. Shared bathroom between the girls' bedrooms. So it's a very modern house, full plumbing, including hot and cold running water, flush toilets. So very modern home. Here on the front wall, that little brass knob is one of 3 speaking tubes in the house.
Oh, neat.
So they run through the walls and down to the servants' wing. So yes, there was, as I say, 3 in all, so able to communicate with their staff. This is an 11,000 square foot home, so a nice feature, yeah. Same thing with the Missouri draw.
Yeah, that's cute.
Now, wallpaper here is another great discovery. It was found behind this mantle during restoration work. In researching it, they found it's the work of a British children's book illustrator named Walter Crane. They also found the original manufacturer still in business in the original place. Still very appropriate because they are a family of true animal lovers. A huge pet population part of this household, especially cats, up to 12 at a time living here. Sam once said that if you can cross man with cat, it would improve the man but deteriorate the cat. So loved having cats around him.
Sounds like Gillette.
Yes, yes.
Right?
And Gillette was a friend. His family,
really?
yes, Gillette lived here as a young man in Nook Farm, so he was here at the same time. All right, so this room was originally Sam's study. This bench in the corner, based on something he'd seen during his world travels in a Syrian monastery. Beautiful western views through those windows, nice pillows, great place to lie back with a cigar. Not so good for his work habits, though. He said it was hard to get from there to his desk. So workspace moves upstairs in 1880, mainly though to make a classroom for the daughters. Girls are homeschooled, largely by their mother, but also with the help of tutors and governesses. One governess with them long-term was a woman named Rosina Hay, was told to only speak German to the girls.
Sorry.
Okay, so over time, with lecturing and continuing to write, they do pay off all bankruptcy debt as a matter of honor, not obligation. Sam, over time, builds another fortune. He does die a wealthy man. The 1890s are a very difficult period for the family, often kept apart for long periods of time, just strain of constant travel, feeling of living in exile. And then true tragedy in 1896. Families in London, and daughter Susie is about to join them for a reunion, comes here to Hartford to visit with friends, and ends up contracting spinal meningitis. Family staying in the house at the time invited the maid traveling with Susie to bring her here to her childhood home to keep her comfortable. At 24 years old, though, Susie dies here in this house before her family could even make it to her side to see her again. They're completely devastated at the loss, never able to come live in this house again. Sam's wife, Olivia, prone to health issues throughout life, really begins to decline at this time. She dies in Italy in 1904, and then tragedy again on Christmas Eve of 1909. Youngest daughter, Jean, suffers a seizure that leads to cardiac arrest and is found dead in a bathtub in her father's home in Reading. So 4 months later, having lost 3 of his 4 children, seeing every up and down that life can throw at a person, and on such a scale, coming from nothing to the most famous man in the world. But 4 months after that, April of 1910, Sam dies in his home in Reading at 74 years old. Enjoyed by the whole family, Sam would sit propped up on pillows at the foot of the bed, gazing toward the headboard. He said the angels gave peace to the sleeper and sweet dreams. Daughters liked to come rest here on days that they were ill or injured, with extra attention from their mother. And then on better days, the angels on the 4 posts are set on dowels so they could be removed, and the girls were allowed to take them down and use them as toys. They would dress them in clothes, bring them to tea parties, give them a bath. If you start looking closely at the angels, you could see pretty significant signs of wear on the angels versus the finish on the rest of the beds. That's a nice sunny. Words, I have no problem, numbers, always stick. All right, welcome to the man cave. This billiard room here on the 3rd floor. Centerpiece of the room was a billiard table. This is in fact a pool table, but this did belong to Sam. On the return from Europe around the turn of the century, he lived in New York City. This was a gift from a friend. So this did belong to Sam, although it was a billiard table, not a pool table during the Hartford years. Friday nights here with his gentleman friends. So picture cigar smoke and political discussions and billiards late into the night. Sam, often outlasting his guests, really valued these Friday nights and generally try to arrange out-of-town business to be back for these. So billiards by night, and then by day, this room is Sam's workspace. So the farthest corner of this house at a small table with his back turned to distraction is where Sam Clemens sits down as Mark Twain. So a very disciplined writer. He would come up after breakfast, shut the door, and work for the day, preferably undisturbed. Along with his books, there were always newspaper and magazine articles, letters, patent applications. He was no believer in writer's block. Kitchen and pantry area. One of the more recent restorations. This was previously office space. The building next door allowed us to restore this. This is the original model stove that was added here. Originally the kitchen ended at this wall, but 1881 they did additions, so that added the servants' dining hall and additional pantry space. State-of-the-art stove. It was previously just a big freestanding stove, so a little more room for their staff, some more modern amenities, and this is done in part just to attract and keep good help. There's a wide variety of factory jobs available to people at this time, so getting good domestic help is getting more and more challenging. So, we have some records here from a typical dinner menu that the staff would be preparing. This is from 1897. You can see everything from champagne and wine, clams on the half shell, lamb, asparagus, on, right down to molded ice cream flours. And keep in mind, this is before electricity, before modern refrigeration, so imagine trying to make a molded ice cream flour on a hot day. So no expense spared with their dinner parties. Through that window is that butler pantry that I pointed out in the dining room. So the staff would prepare the food, send it through that window to George. George is the one trusted with china and silver and so forth. So he'd be the one to plate the food and wait the table. Most of the staff, though, all kept behind closed doors. Typical of Victorian kitchen to have it buffered with hallways and pantries and so forth. Icebox, again, before electricity. And some of their communication devices. Here are the 3 speaking tubes I mentioned upstairs. And here's a device called the Annunciator. This is another way to communicate with the staff. Each staff member had a number of rings assigned to them. So it was 2 rings for Rosa, the governess. So Rosa, here's 2 rings, comes and checks here. Please report to room 7. So each of the numbers there corresponding to a room in the house. Here, a dumbwaiter goes from the 2nd floor landing down to the basement where the laundry facility is located. If there's anything we take for granted today, it's laundry. It was a real, a true chore, drudge work back in those days. And finally, the modern feature here, do we know what that is? Can you girls even recognize what that is? It's a phone. So Sam claimed to have the first phone in Hartford. No way of verifying that for certain. We do know they did appear in the first Hartford phone directory with about 70 households. Sam was actually offered a chance to invest in the phone, and he passed on that. So not always so good at the business sense. He should have maybe stuck with just writing. But what we have here, we have a record of Sam's, there we go. All right, this is in his handwriting. This is his report on the condition of the telephone at 351 Farmington Ave. It's a new technology prone to plenty of glitches and so forth. So here's his explanation of the signs, and he has a grid here with the days of the week, AM and PM, and of course room for remarks. So with 1 check, artillery can be heard. 2 is thunder can be heard. 3, artillery and thunder combined can be heard. And 4, all communications fail. So Sam would complete this, send it into the phone company with an attempt to negotiate his bill based on the quality of his service. So to me, this just connects then to now. If you try to get Wi-Fi in the visitor center some days or so, you could relate to this, I find, for slow.
This is the Peabody Gallery. It was built in 2002, and we house our changing exhibitions here. We had everything from exhibitions of American Impressionism to American folk art. We have pastelists and portraitists and all of the other wonderful things in contemporary art. This is the museum's Peabody Gallery. It was built in 2002 so that we would have space to show our changing exhibitions. The exhibitions change about 4 times a year, and we can show anything from American Impressionism to portraitists to folk art, as we have now. And we do loan shows. This show is from the Fillmore Art Museum in Cooperstown, New York. And we also have had shows from Peabody, France, and many other places. And we also design our own shows as well. Good. Hi, and welcome to the Florence Griswold Museum. This is where it all started, in the Florence Griswold house, which you'll see when you visit. Miss Florence opened her house to artist boarders in 1899. And this was a very interesting time in America because more leisure time was available, so people were able to travel a bit more, and they were they were looking for nice places to stay. And women who were going through some financial troubles, which Miss Florence was after her family died, that's what she did. She opened a boarding house, very respectable for a woman like that to do. And she, luckily for art and art history and art lovers all around, artists started coming and staying. And they would eventually, so many would come, they started to form the Lime Art Colony. And here in the dining room where the artists would take their meals is the finest example of art colony artwork in America. And you'll see that they painted directly on the walls and door panels. There's over 40 examples by about 30 artists. And they really did just do this out of love for Miss Florence and wanting to continue to paint after they had their experiences painting in the Lyme area. They would come in and paint more, or sometimes they would take a panel with them and send it back to Miss Florence. They picked this habit up of doing this when they would travel to France and Holland and England. They would set up these little colonies and want to paint together, to eat together, to stay together. And they also would sometimes paint on the walls and door panels of the places that they stayed there. So this is the best example in America, is right here in Old Lyme, where the Lyme Art Colony stayed. And there's everything from winter scenes that they painted to these lovely summer scenes, night scenes. So there's a little bit of everything, and I think every time someone visits, they find something new to enjoy. This one is a great piece. We call it the Fox Chase, and it was painted by Henry Rankin Poor. And he and the other artists always enjoyed looking at the Fox Chase prints that were here that Miss Florence had from her father. So they made their own Fox Chase. So you'll see all of the artists, from the founder of the colony, Henry Ward Ranger, to Charles Hassam, to Matilda Brown. But you can see they're all it's a character, they're all very funny. And the poor little fox down here who's running toward, you can actually see the church steeple, is not at all worried about these artists catching up with him. And when you come to visit, we have wonderful docents who will talk to you about a particular painting if you have a question. And what I find is, any given day you come, that docent or your guide will another piece of the history when you come. So one of the rooms you'll see when you visit the Florence Griswold house is Miss Florence's bedroom. And so she would have slept upstairs, of course, but when she opened her house to boarders, she knew she could get $7 extra a week room and board if she let a room upstairs. So she moved everything that she had personal down to this space and made this her home. Miss Florence, they always had a little financial troubles to keep this beautiful late Georgian home running. And this was, 1899, so it was a difficult time for the family, and she was the only one left. The house had been mortgaged 3 times over, and she, she really struggled, and the artists always, made sure that they paid their bills because they knew, and the townspeople also were very helpful. Miss Florence was in her 80s and in declining health. Her executor decided that she really did need to sell her house and her property, which was 12 acres. And so they did, but they were trying to the artists and the townspeople were trying to get enough money so that they could give it back to her. Well, they were outbid by a judge from New York, and he bought this property, thankfully let her live out her days here. And he really wanted a beautiful river view, so he built a house down there. She lived for only a year, and he really boarded up this house. And thankfully for everyone, he could have done so many things. He could have sold the paintings, but he really kept it all together. And 10 years later, that we're now into the 1940s, the artists in the community were able to buy back the house and less than an acre of land, and that started the whole Florence Griswold Museum. So now we're upstairs in the Griswold house, and this is the area we use as gallery space to display a permanent collection of Lime Colony artists. And each room is broken down. We have the Lime landscape, which the artists love to go out and paint, and tonalism, which was the first kind of art that was practiced here by Henry Ward Ranger and his artist friends. Then they switched sort of to Impressionism when Child Hassan started coming in to visit and to paint for the summer. And we have a gallery of Impressionist art. And this actually tells the story, this gallery space tells the story about the restoration of this house back in 2006, and all the pieces that were used to put together the house into the time period of 1910, which was the high point of the colony. We used paintings like this to say, oh, this is what was going on in this room. We used paintings of the outside of the house to know how the columns were painted. Interiors were used, again, to show where the things were needed to be placed. So, because it was an artist colony, we have a great record of how they used the house.
Florence's garden was restored in 1999, and it was a wonderful kind of grandmother's garden where you would go through and pick your flowers for your vases in your rooms and on your dinner table. Well, the museum isn't just beautiful on the inside, it's also on the outside. We have this wonderful sculpture by New York-based artist Matthew Geller. It's called Anticipator, and it'll mist wonderfully and it has lights on it, so you can come and check that out in different temperatures, in different weather conditions. The mist will do different things, and it's a wonderful space to come and have a picnic. We are on the Lieutenant River, and just as in the 1890s and early 1900s when the artists were painting here, we have contemporary artists painting on the site. So any given day you can see wonderful artwork being created as well. We have camps, and the campers will come out here, and the other school groups will come here and paint en plein air, just like the artists did over 100 years ago.
You're right about this thing looking like Justin.
Thank you. I feel like it's more like Spain because the colors in Spain and like if it was in Mexico there wouldn't be as much screen as there is. Like I feel like it'd be better in Rome or Spain because there's like lots of green in there. So I think that's cool. I like the way the women are dressed too. If it was in Mexico they'd be dressed like a little lighter. So that's cool. You get to see both women stuff like that.
What's real? Just eggs. For real? Yeah. What are they at? What is one just like hatched right now? What will the hummingbird egg hatch?
After this. Okay.
Look, you want to get some? Go ahead, you can undo. Do you like it here? It looks like a little triangular.
I think so. You might have to. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The bow. Oh my gosh.
There's something that was so
Okay, please come down.
Perfect. No.
I love this. It's so wonderful.
I'll get you one day. Your house is jumping the trampoline?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cheers. Take it out.
And screamers.
Hi, Mom! Hi, Mom! I'm a national
Volunteer teenager.
Oh, so you're a volunteer.
That's not the movie! Guys, that's not the Yeah, a lot. Yeah, and you try to guess what it is.
My name's Cora Walker. This school year coming up, I'll be a senior, and I go to career high school. And I work at the Peabody Museum. I've been here ever since my freshman year, and it's really fun, and it's really nice because I like to educate people about everything here. What else? Oh, okay. You ready? So, we're in the summertime. We come here from Wednesdays to Sundays, and those are the days that we work. And then we're usually here for either 5 hours or 5.5 hours, which is like a normal work day for us because we're still teenagers. And basically, what we do when we're here is like we'll bring out parts which like have a bunch of information on it, and we like ask people questions, try to get them thinking, explain everything to them. And we have them in different rooms. Like we have North American dioramas, and that has a bunch of skulls, and it's really fun. We have Egypt, which is right here. Then we also have a birds one with a bunch of bird skulls up there, and we give people like random cool facts about birds. And also we do like arts and crafts with little kids on the first floor. And we also work in the discovery room, and like we interact with the people in there, and we like show them the ants and the bearded dragons, and like you can open up the drawers and touch everything, and it's fun. And during the school year, when we're here, we only work on Saturdays and Sundays since like school is first for our after school with our program. School comes first, so we don't work on the school days at all. And everyone with like the blue vest, we all are in the same after school program, and we all meet up once a week, and like we'll basically learn a bunch of different stuff. Like we make part of the exhibit on the first floor. So we make an exhibit, we learn about college prep, a lot of college prep, and we basically learn about science and math and anything in the STEM field we learn about during those days that we meet up after school.
One thing I seen here was chocolate. It's good though, chocolate.